Ladies and gentlemen of the three-dimensional frequency, I am extremely excited to sit in front of you today and finally declare that we've made it. I know I've said this time and time again, and it might get redundant as I may sit here time and time again and say to you the same thing over and over again. And that is because we have truly made it. Throughout the eons and eons of evolutionary feats, throughout the entanglements of drama, of the feats, of the blessings, of the withholding of the truth from a society so large in scale, so wise in content, so content in all that it is, in the frequency that it is, in this very moment in time, that the society has been so unsuspecting of what is to come, of what is to happen to their next door neighbors as these energies creep up upon their doorsteps, of what is to happen to their sons and daughters as these energies slowly approach all of what is from every single direction of what is, as the society has been traversing into nights of darkness for all that there is, for eons and eons of evolutionary feats, for stories that will forever be remembered, and for journeys that can never be told. As the stories are endless and the journeys are arduous, to a society that has been so unsuspecting of such energies to creep up upon their footsteps, to once and for all see the light of what is. And ladies and gentlemen, as the first fractal of a soul so deep and so wide, into a space so dark and so broad, into the quantum realm that we know as the home of ours, as the forever home of ours, as the overreaching home of ours that we've lived in, that we've traversed, that we've experienced on these journeys, on the greatest and grandest journeys that your soul has ever known and your soul shall ever speak of. Within these nights of all nights, within the darkest nights of all nights, within the brightest morning of all mornings, I can confidently sit here today and say to you that we've made it. As a fractal of the oversoul that so bravely stepped out on the first night of all nights to experience all that there is from a fresh new angle, from a fresh new perspective, from many angles of what is, from endless cycles of what is, to experience reality for what it is, to experience that of the self for what it is truly not. As the first fractal soul of a God's consciousness so great and so grand, I can confidently tell you that I've been waiting. I've been waiting for millennia's past. I've been waiting for eons and eons, through eons and eons of evolutionary feats, through arduous journeys of what is, through layers and layers of energetic frequencies and fields, of poppies and peonies, of floral flowers flowing in the night of what is, of pungent smells and stenches flowing through the nights of what is not and what shall never be, of the darkness and brightness, of the all-encompassing light of all that there is, of the overarching darkness of all that we shall never be. I've truly and really been waiting for this moment to come, for the endlessness that we are, as an entirety of the whole, has been on this long and arduous journey for far too long. So as I sit here today and say to you, once and for all, and once and for final, and perhaps once and for never, as I will say to you time and time again, that we've made it. We've truly made it. As a societal structure, as a unity consciousness of an entirety of a whole, it's finally time. We've made it to a point that encompasses all that we are, all that we shall never be, and all that we shall never live without. As the time has come for all journeys of journeys to come to an end. An end of time that will lead to a new beginning of explorations, of lessons learned, of forever grandness in scale, of the forgiveness that you shall never witness and you will always witness, and that you shall never encompass, and that you've always encompassed within your heart of all hearts. As this forgiveness is so great, this forgiveness is so grand, that it can only be forgiven from the perspective of where I sit, of unity consciousness as an entirety of the whole of what is, of the neutrality of what is, as we've been traversing this arduous journey all by ourselves. All by ourselves is a conundrum of sorts, because you and I know as we sit here today, you are a separate entity from me. You have a separate body from me. You have a separate energetic field than mine. You feel different than me. You are different than me. You are not sitting within the same room as me. You are all the way on the other side of the globe. You're all the way down the street to the far left. You're all the way in places where I shall never know. Wherever you are, at the end of the day, you are a part of me, as we are a part of a singular consciousness that is so great and so grand that you shall never know the meaning of it all, the true meaning of it all, until we collapse this reality and merge ourselves back into the energetic frequency of what is and what shall always be and what has never left us since the beginning of a time so arduous, since the end of a river, of a forever flowing river that has no end and no beginning in sight. As our energies merge in ways that you shall never perceive, in ways that I shall forever comprehend, as our energies ebb and flow in the middle of the nights that are so dark, that are so deep, that are so tumultuous in moments of your life where you felt so lonely, where you've slept alone on a singular bed, feeling abandoned by all that there is, all that there was, and all that there shall ever be, in your singular perspective of sorts, as a singular person, as a singular entity of that in which you are. But I'm here to tell you as I sit here today that your consciousness belongs to my consciousness, and my consciousness is a part of your consciousness, and so is that of every single consciousness out there. And so is that of every single consciousness that you can ever perceive and that you can never perceive, as we are a part of a greater and grander whole of what is. A wholeness of what is that is overarching, that is never ending, that is ever expanding, ever folding upon the energetic frequencies and layers of perceptions, of divorces, of perceptions, of tranquility, so deep, so arduous. So tectonic are these plates of what is and reality fields, of meshing frequencies, of fishnets floating in the river, forever about to scoop up a field of fish, a school of fish, a school of turtles, of fields of octopuses, of the greatest and grandest killer whale that you shall ever see or witness, as all of the animals that I've mentioned above and below and all around you and surrounding every single fractal of your being, even the ones in nature, even the tree down the street, the blade of grass on your lawn, the flower that you picked in middle school for your teacher, the ionic feats that you've gone through in this lifetime alongside all of the consciousnesses that I speak of, have all belonged to one singular consciousness of what is, have all belonged to the conglomeration of the singularity of a reality so great and so grand that I can never explain to you the meaning of it all until we come to a point, to a precipice of what is, until that day comes when we get the opportunity to merge back into the energy of what is, to go back to a place that we have never left, to go back to a location that has never left us, to merge back into the being that we've always been, and that we shall never be without. As this perspective that you're sitting in is an edited blueprint of a perspective of your soul's blueprint, of your soul's journey, of that arduous journey you've been on for eons and eons of evolutionary feats that you've so forgotten and that you can't remember and that you may never remember and that you will always remember as these lessons carry us through the deepness of the nights, through the grandness of the mornings. These lessons shall forever precede all that there is, all that there was, and all that there ever shall be, as the lessons of self, the lessons of exploration, the lessons of darkness, the lessons of parts of the self that saw an opportunity so great and so grand in other parts of the self that triggered the expansion, the massiveness, the growth of other parts of the self, that disbelieved other parts of the self, that bullied other parts of the self, that went to a war so great and so grand with parts of the self. These stories are endless. These stories are massive. These stories are steeped in distortions of what is. As ladies and gentlemen, this whole entire time, we've been playing a play of sorts. We've been playing a game of sorts. We've been living a reality of sorts with that of the self, with that of the only self, with that of the entirety of the unity consciousness of the whole that we are, the whole that we've always been, and the whole that we shall never be without. As without this whole, without this entirety of a whole of consciousness that I speak of, we are not in existence. Yet, we have never been in existence. And it's a conundrum, you see, as we can never grasp with our human minds, with these minds that we've been blessed with at the birth time of this lifetime. These massive, wide perceptions, the scales of what is, in the middle of a night so dark, in the middle of an incoming morning so bright. These concepts are wide. These concepts are broad. These concepts are more than we can ever envision or imagine in a time of ascension energies that society will experience, that society is experiencing as a massiveness of the whole, as all of the darkness within is about to shift and travel into a tunnel so deep, into a tunnel so wide, into a tunnel so great, that it shall forevermore, and perhaps not for the last time, be encompassed into the conglomeration of the shadows of what is, of the shadows that shall never leave us, of the compartmentalized bubble that we've created as a protection mechanism to protect ourselves, our one self, our only self that there has ever been. As an exploration of the self, we've been exploring that of the dangers of the self, that of the journeys of the self, that of the far-reaching corners of our reality field in all that we are, within all that we are, and within all that we shall never be. As we dig through this tunnel into a morning so bright, into a spot of light that shall forever expand into the depths of our souls, forever and always, as we expand so massively, so wholly, so brightly into a light so everlastingly tranquil and so everlastingly complete will we become once we expand back into the entirety of the whole of consciousness itself. Once we expand back into the entirety of what is, what shall never leave us, and what has always been a part of us on this arduous journey of forgetfulness,